All right, welcome back to another episode. I think this is episode three. As you can tell, I have a better camera now. I'm using my phone actually, so that's pretty good. Hopefully, everything is sounding okay. Um, Welcome back to another episode. Let's see. Uh, Labor Day weekend was this past weekend, so that was pretty good. Caught up on some stuff. Um, I had a meeting over the weekend, and that was good. Also, have been refining, or I finished, and now I'm like kind of like refining day by day. Two pitch decks, one being the networking group, and the other one being Six Rings Capital, which I mentioned last week. Is a project that I'm working on, currently looking for funding for. Um, so yeah, that was pretty good. Finished all that last week. I know I tried to record an episode every day, but seriously, just like things got in the way. Um, with work and like stuff that I'm trying to do and trying to get done. So with that being said, I have a really busy week again this week. Today was like tonight's literally the only night that I could maybe do this podcast because um, I'm super excited. But basically, I'm meeting with like a bunch of investors this week. I have two meetings tomorrow. I got invited out to this event that I actually applied for, and it was awesome that I got to pitch kind of like Six Rings Capital. And this is kind of like my first go around of being on this like actual entrepreneur that's like looking for funding, because my first ever business, which is Six Rings Media, I did all that without funding. Use my own money, and that has been profitable for quite some time now. So which I'm super proud of. But like what I'm trying to accomplish within the next set of like businesses that I want to run by, I actually do think that I need funding for. And on top of that, I just got some really cool insight and knowledge throughout my experience this summer working at a startup. So yeah, I have an investors thing tomorrow, kind of like an event that I have to go to. It's kind of like a mixer between like um, founders, and then also kind of like investors too. We're supposed to meet people there, and I think there's also a guide who's supposed to introduce us to like different investors who could be interested. And then I actually do have like a real investor meeting on Friday, which my partner and I are going to. Which reminds me, I think he needs to be on this podcast. I don't know why he isn't yet, but um, he needs to be in an episode, kind of just like talk about what we're trying to get accomplished. So yeah, um, that's exciting. I got to stay prepared for this week. Got to stay focused. I'm looking to raise $500,000 for kind of like the friends and family round. If I could get mentorship on that, that would be amazing. We also do have an MVP, which is, for those who don't know, kind of like what that is. It's like a minimum viable product. So we have a product now, service for Six Rings Capital, and hopefully throughout the scaling of the next few months, if we can hit critical mass, we should be pretty profitable within the first year, which is always great for any business starting out. Um, so yeah, super excited for that. That's kind of like the focus for this week. That's my main priority this week. Um, the networking group is coming along pretty well. I finished, like I said, like the PDFs slides for it. So that's kind of like, I still have to refine it a little bit. I kind of want to redo the logo and stuff like that. But all in all, I think it's coming together really well. Meeting with people throughout this week and this weekend to pitch it to, and really just kind of have like the first group together. Both of these things, actually anything that I do, I try to take it to huge 10x levels, and just try to scale out a lot of the things I'm trying to do. But with that being said, that's going to require some help. So that's all pretty much I'm working on. I want to talk about the networking group like in a couple episodes, because I do think that I could go into a whole 30-minute like talk about that, and why it's important to me and why I'm focusing in on it. But yeah, it's not too much is going on. Um, the whole thing about Six Rings Capital and like why I'm raising money for it, it just comes to a point where I'm looking to um, free myself up a little bit more. And I think that if I had some capital to go into it with, and pretty much position myself in the market within the first couple years, I feel like with some capital, I'll be pretty comfortable with doing that. Six Rings Media is providing some sort of income, but it's not to the degree where I'm like okay with and like good. Like it doesn't like fit my lifestyle that I want to live. So, um, with that being said, I do feel like I am still pretty blessed to be in a position where I'm, fully supporting myself. Um, but I do think that it's time for me to expand a little bit and move on to different things. So yeah, I do think that like if I was to take Six Rings Capital and put it into the marketplace and like position myself, um, I think with the help of some sort of capital would like be beneficial because it's not like Six Rings Media where it's a service like that I could like replicate at, like at a rate that anybody can do it. Like for example, like in Six Rings Media, I white labeled a lot of my services that I already knew how to do myself, but it's like that in terms of time constraints, um, like I had to give someone part of the profit. So like what I'm trying to do with Six Rings Capital and real estate, it's not exactly as replicable as that. So um, yeah, in terms of getting into the marketplace, I would like to have some capital backing me. Um, just like any business would probably like. Um, I hope this camera is like really nice because you could see like my bed and like this painting that I got from a while ago. I have the Supreme poster back there too. Um, so the podcast, Billionaires Therapy. Uh, again, I'm gonna try to shoot 2 episodes this week. So if I could do that, like I think Friday I'm not doing anything. Saturday night I'm not doing anything. Um, I'm entering that time of the year where I'm like working a lot more than usual. So like Monday through Saturday, it's basically anything and everything I'm doing is to push like my companies forward and like the things that I'm prioritizing forward. Sunday's basically kind of just like the day where I'm like, all right, I'll kick back a little bit, like have a beer and stuff. Like Monday through Saturday, I'm gonna really try to like dial in on like focus and like not drinking or eating too much or eating like shitty foods. um yeah, a lot of people like go into like their monk modes, which is basically kind of just like ultra focused modes at this time of the year. At least like people like in my industry, which is like the marketing agency world. um I'm going into like my American Psycho mode, which is just like literally as soon as I wake up, all I want to do is work, and like 30 minutes to an hour of working out every day, and just like come back, eat, and then get back to work until I pass out. And I'm gonna try to live off of like 4 to 5 hours of sleep every night, at least until like from today until the very last day of November, maybe, or like maybe like the last week of December or the last days of the first week of December. Like I feel like if I could give myself that time to accomplish a lot of things I want to accomplish within the year, like I'll be pretty good. So I know that's kind of like not it's not a normal thing to do, but when you're trying to do a lot of cool shit, and trying to accomplish a lot of big things, you can't be normal. You can't operate within normal people shit. So yeah, I'm getting ready to settle in and start working pretty hard here in the next few days. It's obviously not all gonna happen overnight, but with that intent and with that focus of like trying to get to those hours and those days, I feel like I can settle in pretty nicely by the end of like this week or maybe like early next week. I'll hit the ground running. Um, let's see what else. Uh, yeah, I watched this show. I guess something that I want to talk about in this podcast episode because if I'm building myself a platform, like why the hell am I not going to use it to talk about or to talk my shit on a lot of things? So I'm watching this show, or I finished it. It's called Selling the OC. And if you guys have ever, do you guys have, if you guys have Netflix, a lot of people do. But if you guys ever watched that show called Selling Sunset, it's kind of like they're it's kind of like a sister project where it's like they're doing the Orange County now. And man, I have some opinions about that because like I've been to the Oppenheimer office in LA. I'm pretty sure it's on Sunset if I'm not mistaken, or if it's on one of the other streets. Um, and like I like the first season, but honestly after that it just became like one of the most dramatic shows, and I kind of wish that it wasn't because there's cool aspects about like when you're selling multi-million dollar listings, um, which I'm a huge fan of. A lot of those houses I actually am a huge fan of. I like the way they're built and kind of like how they're positioned um, on weird landscapes like on the hills obviously, but there's this one in the show that I'm watching, the OC one. It's $106 million and it's on a cliff. And there's a property that I'm like super super obsessed with. They've never shown it on the show, on any show. Um, but it's 1200 Bel Air Road. Um, it's $140 million. Like that's all I'm gonna say. But if you guys want to look that up, like that's the property that I'm obsessed with. Anyways, so this show, the Selling Sunset show, or Selling the OC, I watch these shows like hoping like it'll be a little bit more informative on like what people do when they're selling like these huge multi-million dollar listings. But I hate that like they've just turned it into like a dramatic show. For example, there's this piece of shit. Her name's Alex Hall, and honestly, I feel like she's from hell. Um, she just reminds me of one of those girls that like just never let go of like the high school drama shit, and like just thrives off like attention, and whether it's good or not. um this girl, it just gives off like super bitchy vibes. And sadly she's like the main kind of like character in the show, even though in the beginning she said like she doesn't like a lot of attention on her. This fucking prick just talks a lot about like um she acts so fucking tough, and I just know you're not. Like I'm sick of like a lot of these girls like in LA, or wherever the fuck she's from. Um, just because they got that platform with Netflix, the deal with Netflix, they can talk a lot of shit, they can do all this, and there's no repercussions on their end, um, that like will ruin your reputation. And I feel like maybe that is still the case because showbiz is such a weird business, and hopefully one that I'll never get myself tangled in with. Um, because you got to think about it, right? Like parts of the show, like you don't know if the drama is like real or not. But after watching the interviews on YouTube and stuff, like the drama is real, and it feels like they actually like the shit that happens within the show. And I'm not gonna spoil it for a lot of people, but the shit that happens within the show, I feel like is actually real because throughout the interviews that I've been watching, it's like there's real animosity there that I'm looking at, and I'm like, why the hell is this a thing? Like, why is it that like the Oppenheimer brothers, like, why did they allow these behaviors? Because in anywhere else across the country, like literally anywhere else, um, the dynamic that like Selling Sunset and like those girls, like the drama that happens there, like the drama that happens in Orange County one, like what like those are not acceptable within any industry, at least from what I've seen and from my experience. Like that's hard to come by, and in most cases, again from my experience, I feel like those are terms of like you're getting fired, like you don't have a job the next day. And I don't know, man, I don't know if it's like this Netflix deal that's like they're letting them. I mean, I hope it makes money, um but as a professional myself, I would like to see more of just them like doing deals and like what the commission is looking like and like how long that actually hits their bank account. I would like to know more about like their family stuff and like how they actually have to operate to get to that level of a sale. Like there's so much more opportunity to be actually valuable to society than to just provide like brain dead, like Alex Hall type of characters. Like she's fucking like 35 or 40 or some shit, and she's acting like she's 16. And sadly, I do think there are a lot of like women that are that age that act like that, especially like in weird positions of power. Um, the coolest thing about like what I'm trying to do is like I don't have to deal with that. I don't think. Um, so yeah, interesting show. If you guys ever want to watch like a group of 40-year-old women act like entitled bitches, then I please go ahead and take a shot at the show. It is quite hilarious. It'll make you feel better about yourself because you're not as shitty as them. But um, aside from that, uh, yeah, I just really wish that I could find a show like sort of something like what Ryan Serhan is doing on YouTube, where he's actually conducting these huge deals, and we get to see a little bit of background of his life and um, like his team and like the things that he's doing with the brokerage. Like I enjoy that kind of like content in terms of real estate. Um, yeah. If you guys do watch it or have seen it, please like give me like your opinion on the show. Like message me on Instagram or tweet me. Really would love to hear your opinion on it. There's a few other women on the show. I don't remember their names because it's just kind of like one of those things where it's in and out. But I would love to hear your opinion on them. This is going to be a short episode. I'm just here to check in with you guys and trying out this camera stuff. And hopefully it's looking well. It's getting hot because I have to turn off the AC because it's going to be like super loud if I turn it back on. But yeah, checking in again, just checking in and make sure that I'm good. And you guys are my therapist, so kind of like to sit here and just like ramble on. Yeah, let me try to have my partners here soon on the episode. On an episode, I think it'll be cool to have like Anthony on the show, like my partner Tevin on the show. Um, and so yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and make sure you subscribe to like this if you're on Spotify or Apple Music or Apple Podcasts. Like leave a review or whatever. Um, if you're on YouTube, I'm starting to upload these now on YouTube, so that's kind of like fun too. You can see my room if you want to take a look at it. But yeah, thank you guys so much for following the journey. One more episode, then I'll start pushing marketing really, really, really hard. So um, let's see if I can get that done this week. I really want to. I promise I do want to, but execution is another thing, right? So thank you guys for watching. Subscribe, message me, tweet me. I don't care. Okay, have a good day.